Hello, welcome to another PreCalculus video. In this video, we're going to review factoring non-monic trinomials. Recall a non-monic trinomial is a trinomial whose leading term is not 1. For instance, right here, the leading term of this trinomial is 2. It's non-monic. Non-monic trinomials take a little patience to factor, but if you persist, you can crack every one of them. All right, so first I want to go back and take a look at a multiplication problem here. We have the binomial 3x plus 5 times the binomial x plus 2, and we get 3x squared plus 11x plus 10. I want to remind you of where every part of the result came from. This 3x squared came from multiplying the x terms. It came from 3x times x. So multiplying those two gives us the 3x squared. The constant comes from multiplying the numbers. It comes from multiplying plus 5 and plus 2. 5 times 2 is 10, and that's where that one came from. So when we're factoring, this gives us clues. The x terms multiply to the x squared term. The numbers have to multiply to the constant term. But we also have to get the middle term correct, the 11x term. This came from multiplying the inner two, 5 times x, and the outer two, 3 times 2x. 5x plus 3 times 2 is 6x, gives us the 11x. So normally we start with the x terms, making sure they give us the right x squared term. Then we try different possibilities for the numbers, so that the constant works out and the x term works out. All right, so we're going to start by filling in some blanks here. So we have 2x squared plus 21x plus 10, and we started the factoring for us. 2x times x equals 2x squared, so that part's done. So we need two numbers that multiply to positive 10. So I have to be ready to consider different possibilities. It could be 1 and 10. It could be 10 and 1. Could be 2 and 5. And it could be 5 and 2. The order makes a difference because one of these has a 2x, the other one has an x. I know they're both positive because we have a positive 21x here. So there's no way both numbers could be negative. So we're looking for two positive numbers. All right, well, there's nothing to do but try these out until we get the one that works. So if we look at this first one, if we put a 1 here and a 10 here, I think that works out. That gives us plus 10. And for the x terms, it gives us 1x plus 20x, which is 21x. So the first possibility worked, but I have to be ready to try several possibilities until I get the one that works. All right, here's another example. 5x squared plus 12x minus 9. Well, because this is negative, we know that one of the numbers has to be negative and one has to be positive. And they gave us a little hint here that the first one's negative. So it could be minus 1 and positive 9. That multiplies to negative 9. It could be minus 9 and positive 1. It could be minus 3 and positive 3. So if I try negative 1 and 9, let's try that out. 5x minus 1 times x plus 9. That would give me minus 1x plus 45x. That's way too big. That's bigger than 12. So it's not that one. Let's try the next one. 5x minus 9. X plus 1. You get minus 9x plus 5x is minus 4x. That's not right. There's only one other possibility. It has to be this one, and we'll see that works. That gives me minus 3x plus 15x is 12x. So that's the correct one right there. Now, after a while, you kind of get a feel for this. So sometimes you develop an intuition of what to try. Okay, one more of these. 2x squared minus 7x plus 6. They got started with the 2x and the x. The 6 is positive, but they have to add up to something negative. So we know it's two negative numbers. All right, so it could be minus 1 and minus 6. minus 6 and minus 1, minus 2 and minus 3, minus 3 and minus 2. There are 4 possibilities here. All right, I don't know. I'm going to pick this one. I'm not really paying attention to what might work. I'm just going to start with that one. Let me see. Let me see if I'm lucky. That'd be minus 2x. And that would be minus 6x. That's minus 9x. It's not that one. All right, let me try this one. That'd be 2x minus 3 times x minus 2. That's minus 3x. Minus 4x is minus 7x. This one works. So this is the solution here. So it ended up, this should have been minus 3 here and minus 2 there. All right, it's messy. There's no way around that. Okay, let's look at 3 examples before we finish up here. Here, the instructions are simply to factor them, but it's not going to be any worse than the ones we were doing. Our first trinomial starts with 2x squared. Unfortunately, there's only one way that could happen. 2x and x. Sometimes there are several possibilities here too, and we just have to keep trying them. But 2x and x is the only way this could work. All right, plus 10. We know that the numbers are either 2 positives or 2 negatives, but since this 12x is positive, I know they have to be positive. Okay, so here we go. We could have a 1 here and a 10 here. This could be 10 and 1, 2 and 5, and 5 and 2. And we would find the one that works is 2 and 5. If we put plus 2 here and plus 5, we get 2x and 10x, which equals 12x. That's the one that works. Okay, let's look at this one, 7x squared. Again, fortunately, there's only one way that could happen, 7x and x. All right, plus 6. It's either 2 positive numbers or 2 negatives. This is positive, so there's two positives. So we could have 1 and 6, 6 and 1, 2 and 3, 3 and 2. And I think if we try this first one, we get something that works. 1x plus 42x is 43x. All right, there were 4 possibilities. Sometimes there are a lot of possibilities. That's why factoring is kind of challenging sometimes, and you have to be patient. All right, this one, 3x squared. 3x and x. Okay, so we have a negative 4 here. That means one of them is positive, one of them is negative. So it could be minus 1 and plus 4. It could be 1 and negative 4. It could be the other way around. It could be negative 4 and 1, positive 4 and 1. Or it could be negative 2 and 2, or 2 and negative 2. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 possibilities here. I think I lost something here. Yeah, there we go. Like that. Okay. So, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 possibilities. All right. Well, to make a long story short, it turns out that this is the winner. Minus 2 plus 2. That would give us minus 2x. That would give us 6x. 6x minus 2x is 4x. That's the one that wins. Okay, so sometimes it helps start listing possibilities, or make sure you're doing this with an eraser, because it takes several attempts sometimes before you get the right one. Okay, it's time for you to practice. So you should be ready to complete the worksheet called Review Assignment Number 2, Factoring Non-Monic Trinomials. That's found in Google Classroom. And as always, you can contact me if you have questions. Take care.